truths about how we all were raised.
That's right.
That we begin to understand, and that caused division. That's what we didn't. A lot of times you don't understand. These are white pastors saying that, man, they don't understand the black church. I don't understand. One guy, he said, he was saying, I don't understand the singing. It's like y'all singing R&B or jazz. That's what what he said. Remember, I told you about that, Keith.
Yeah.
And that was his understanding. He didn't have an understanding that the way you express yourself for God is an individual thing. The Bible says that King David, danced out of his clothes. He wasn't being vulgar. He was dancing for the love of God, that he came so much out of himself. He danced out of his clothes, the Bible says. So would you call that activity something other than a representation of honoring God? Because that's exactly what he was doing. It wasn't rhythmic. It wasn't soft. The Bible says he danced out of his clothes, God. So when you know these kind of truths, right? Division is never a good thing, like I said. Let me ask you, Drew.
Yeah.
It's a kind of like see, when you hear Keith's experience, and many people have this experience. I'm talking about, man, how does that, and you working in law enforcement and working on some of those cases that you worked on, how many times that you ran into just that? You like you say, you might call your partner and he go and figure it out and say, man, no, the problem ain't with that. It was the other people. The problem with them, the people we went to go just not see.
That happened all the time.
So
that happened.
Division. What do you think we need?
Right.
Your opinion, so we can stop being divisive. Let's stop talking about divisiveness. Let's talk about both sides of the story with a compassion and call right, wrong, wrong. There you go.
The tough part about it is because I worked Southern California, and that's LAPD, that's San Bernardino County, that's many things there. Simi Valley. You're talking about a lot of problems that have gone on a lot of years.
Yeah.
And what it stems from is there are greedy people that have intent to continuously be greedy and increase their greed and increase what they have. So prime example, guys, is like this. Let's take this police officer over here who starts out, maybe he's okay. He's a kind of in-between guy. He's not sure what he wants to be. If he wants to be an upstanding police officer of the public, or if he wants to be rogue, so to say, right?
Right.
And to get in to be rogue is not hard once your intentions are known. Once they know that they can bring you into their group and your intentions are to be that type of way, right? You get brought into some things, and I think, I don't know if I shared this with you, Tank, but see, back home where I'm from, if we saw in the paper, like Barstow, California, which is one of the most corrupt places there is. I'm just being real. Yeah, people don't like it, whatever. I worked Barstow, okay? I know what goes on out there.
Tell that truth, man.
And the thing is, when they would say, we got $10 million cocaine bust, as an example, right?
Right.
That meant that there was more than 10. They're reporting 10.
Right.
They took the other amount. So it could have been 30, right? All in all. In truthfulness, it could have been 30. But they took that piece and left 10 and reported 10. That's what got to the papers. The other stuff went wherever they were doing it. But I don't know. You see these guys pull up in nice cars. These guys pull up, representing things. And, you're going, how is that possible? That's millionaire money. How is that possible?
Right.
And so people are easily corrupted, unfortunately. Not all, but when you're around people that are faking being godlike, or you're just around people that don't even have to fake that. They got so much pull that they could just be a scumbag all the way down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you put those people in motion and they go out and do what they do, these people, I mean, you guys, I'm just scratching the surface, okay? Because you're talking about guys that not only money and fast cars, but some of them wife swapped. So what I mean is, one guy may have been married to this girl.
You mean
Now she's married to this
on the
guy.
police force? On the police
Yeah.
force? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've
Now
heard
she's married to this guy.
I've heard that, man. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now she's married to this guy, and this guy used to be married to this girl, and now he's divorced, and now this one he sees this new one in the court. So what I'm saying is, you're dealing in a world, because I call the court a world because it's such a big place.
Yeah.
Where they're doing illegal things, where their moral compass is so screwed up, and you're dealing with this 24/7. No matter what job you're working, you're seeing it. If you're working that job where you're around those people, you're around it 24/7. So you're seeing what people are truly like and what they're really all about, and what people are prepared to do to get more of that power. I remember Rick and I were working a case, and I had gotten a phone call from a guy I knew that I was friends with. And he said, man, you need to get down to the courthouse as fast as you can, because the judge is clowning you guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, for what? He's all, because you've got this client that's hyping up prisoners in the back about legal work, about how they can go back on their sentences they already signed on. He's going around doing this, and he's basically saying you guys are not representing his case in the way that he would want it represented. And I said, okay. So when I get down to the building, my partner and I go directly right in his courtroom, walk right in his back chambers, and he's going, hey guys, how you doing today? You guys hungry? And this and that. And I said, stop right there. I got a call saying that you were upset about our client. And he was like, oh, no, not even, not. He lied.
Right.
I knew he lied. I knew he lied because the way he was approaching it. He didn't stick by his convictions at all. He was just trying to, play nice with us because we were standing there, and that's all he wanted to do. So what I found out was, guys, as you do things like that, excuse me, whether if it's court business or like you guys are talking about trying to start construction business, well, can't talk, construction business. And I worked on movies for a time. I worked on science fiction movies, so I know that world. When people are up to no good, it doesn't matter where they are. Right. They'll find a way to corrupt and to make things bad, and it's like this. The people that are the most corrupt hold the highest positions, or they are controlling the person that has the high positions because they have something on him or her, right? I found that out a lot. I found out a lot of judges had a lot of dirt on them.
Oh, yeah.
And so they had to play a lot of games to survive, right? To survive and live in that world and do what they do, because there was no other way around it, because things were so corrupt. And they had maybe made a mistake when they were young, or they did something that was a no. It could be big or small, but then what happened was a lot of people felt that they owned them, at that point, because they had dirt on them. So the thing was, when they could find dirt on you, that's when they got you. See, wow. So the less dirt or no dirt that you have, the less they have you. The more dirt, or if you just accidentally come into something and you don't want people to find out, they've got leverage over you. And they'll use that to every advantage that they have, against you. Yep. And they'll tell you how it's going to go. I've seen it. It's not very pretty.
Right.
I've seen people, I talked to somebody from the courts maybe about 4 months ago, and they were telling me that guy that I knew that was a cool dude, now he's acting all funny. See, and I said, well, what the heck happened to him? See, so it's just like it gets passed around. And I've seen it where I knew a DA who was an honest, straight shooting guy. I mean, honest, straight shooting guy, good dude, had a son, had a wife, picket fence kind of dude, lived by the law, practiced the law correctly, treated everybody fairly. Do you know that the DA's office did not like him doing that? So they railroaded him out of the job. And he wasn't the only one. There are many that I've known, and I knew that dude really well.
Right.
So I knew his heart and his character, and I said they railroaded that guy right out of the courthouse. That's what they would do. So if you were not going to be in their office doing their bidding, doing what they wanted to do, they would move you out of the courthouse. I think I shared this on Big Herc's channel when I flew out to tape for his show. I told him that we met with the DA that knew that they had a guy that was not guilty in custody, but they were getting ready to give him pretty much a life sentence, right?
Right.
And they told me to my face and my partner to his face that they knew he wasn't guilty, that they knew that the other guy actually did it. But this guy is worth this much, which means I go up in the office, make this type of money, get this higher position. And if I actually book the guy that did it, it only gives me this much.
Right.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for this one.
Yeah.
They had no problem telling me that. Okay. Yeah. This is what you're dealing with. And these are the people that you are being around and you're getting next to, and you're seeing how they
function and operate.
You could say function. They function around each other when they're at work, and they function around each other in their personal lives. Because I was also at some of those get-togethers as well. You know, I was there, and I would see how people who had alcohol problems,
right? How they really had.
And it was bad. It was real bad when they had alcohol problems. A lot of those guys and girls that were up there doing it, when they had alcohol problems, it was real bad. Yeah. They were heavy drinkers, and they were the same people that prosecuted people for DUIs, saying shame on you, but they were much worse than the people they were convicting. And that's what you started to find out. And you started to look at how people did business. So from that level, I understood that. From a filmmaking, working on movies, television series, things of that nature, when you started to get around that, people would take interest in you, and you would, get to know them or try to. And I had one guy that tried to get me to go to a church service by it was a church called in North Hollywood called Agape. Now, I'm not against your church. You're good. You're good. But this place was ran by one of Oprah Winfrey's advisors, was what I was told.
Yeah, okay? I think I heard of that place.
Okay. In this place, you can worship whatever you want at the same time. So if you go in this place, they're worshiping Buddha, soda cans, rocks, Christianity, Mormonism, all at the same time. It's all, that's why it's called Agape. Everybody just does what you want to do.
That's a community center. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's just doing whatever people want to do. And there's so much, I was like, how can you even hear yourself in that place if everybody's doing, just whatever they want to do?
Sure.
And this guy was telling me, he said, look, I can hook you up with some of the top people in the entertainment business. You meet them one time, you're set for life. You're working, you got everything. I can do that for you, but you got to come down to this church service with me, is what he told me. And I said, let me look. He gave me a book. I still got the book. I'll show it to you guys. I'm not gonna dig it out, but of the Reverend, whatever his name was, and he's got it. He's got this book, and I'm looking through it, and I'm going, I don't know about this. Right. So I told the guy, like, I was like, look, man, I'll meet you guys somewhere, but I cannot go down to that building. But he really wanted me to go down to that building. Like, his life depended on it. He wanted me to go down to this building.
Yeah,
I was like, what's so special about this building? You know? And when I told him no, he looked at me as if I just told him that I just stabbed his mom in the shoulder or something. Like, he was like, no, you can't say no to me. And I was like, I'm just not comfortable going down there. And this guy had like an email and all this stuff. Phone number disappeared. Email disappeared. It was almost like I never saw the guy. Okay. So there are things, guys, at work, when you guys talk about this construction company and, you know, people having connections and associations and unions and different things, it gets much deeper than that. There are people that are connected in ways that are out of this world that you wouldn't believe.
Right.
You wouldn't believe what they're up to. Like, and I mean stuff like witchcraft, Satanism, power struggles. Like, there's all this stuff going on that's behind the scenes that people are doing. You know, it's like, you guys ever see the original Ghostbusters, which is one of my favorite movies of all time? It's like Winston said, I've seen stuff that'll turn you white. You know, like it's literally that bad. You know, like you're hearing and seeing what people are really up to. You know, like in Southern California, we had swingers. That whole swinger scene that was going on back when I was like in high school. You know, as far as being a thing, right? Like, the world is seeing this stuff and homosexuality on this level and trans on this. Oops, can't say that. on this level. Yeah, they were doing that stuff in California 20 something years ago.
Right.
And even longer than that, it was just undercover. But when it became more of a known thing where like normal average day people like myself knew about it, that was 20 something years ago. So what, I'll put it to you guys like this. What you guys see happening in the country now, that everybody's going, you know, the gay rights, the trans rights, the this, the that, the this. We had that in California 20 something years ago on a mainstream platform. And you see where California is right now, right?
Yeah.
Sinking.
Yes.
It's sinking. So I always tell people, you know how they always say technology is 10 years ahead of what we actually get? It's 10 years advanced to that. Well, look at that as the reverse. In California, if you want to see what your home state's going to look like in 10 years, just go take a look over there where they were 20 years ago. And you just start layering out the years. Oh, yeah. Right. That's how that works. You want to see the homeless population just go crazy. Look at what California did with it first. Then it will tell you your future of what it looks like for you in your state. If you welcome your gates open to people to bring that stuff there. It's like, I live in Colorado now. They invited in the marijuana thing, right? They were one of the first states. They regret it now. But if they had looked at the history, like I told you guys about California, about when they were trying to do that and had learned from them, they would have learned maybe that's not a good option for us. You see what I'm saying now, guys? That's how the states work. How DeSantis down in Florida having the problems at Disney World and all that stuff like that. All he had to do was look at California 20 years ago and just go, how did people deal with it back then? And it would have told him A, B, C, D.
That's a great comparison. Yeah, that's a good. But you know,
it would have told you.
They chasing money. If you, you don't think logic, which also contributes to division.
That's right.
And I think that's kind of where we're going with this, because what you're saying, you're talking about how deeply rooted these divisive things are, and they're systemic.
Yeah,
they're really systemic. I mean, when you say it's some things go on, man, you just don't, bro. Y'all don't realize it's deeper than just a couple of business owners trying to block you out or something like that.
Yeah, it's and people are entangled with each other.
Yes.
You know, people are entangled with each other. Like, this person might own your construction business and they might be some high-ranking judge connected to that. And then he might be connected to a crime syndicate that owns him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to where they can slap somebody right in the face in front of a judge and the judge isn't going to say nothing. Or they could kill somebody in front of a judge and not say nothing.
Right.
See,
right.
So there's a power struggle that exists amongst people. That's the thing. People don't understand how deep it goes. It's like Tank, you and I were talking about, I don't know much about rap, but I see a lot of these entertainers. Remember we were talking about with the devil outfits and it wasn't just this is Halloween and it was like, no, it was during normal day. This is how they were doing things. This is how they're promoting themselves. This is how they wanted to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
There's a reason, like I told you, that they do all that weird stuff. There's a reason why, because it's all tied into let's see, Epstein, Weinstein. It's all tied into all these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people didn't pay attention. I know they say Alex Jones, it can be off the rails, but here's the thing. Almost on a scale of 1 to 10, being between an 8 and a 9, the stuff that he's saying may not be in the exact flowing context, but the stuff that he's saying, a lot of it ends up being true.
Right.
That's what ends up happening because he talked about that island Epstein had.
Yeah, he did.
Talked about that years ago.
But at the same time, he talked about Sandy Hook didn't take place. So
he messed up. That's what I'm saying. He'll have some mess ups.
He stepped on himself right there.
But there's some times where he'll name some stuff and he'll be right on it.
Yeah.
And people would have missed it. And he'll tell them, he's like, that island, he knew the name of it. He knew all the restaurants they had. He knew all the people that were down there. He knew who was hanging out. He knew how to get access to it. And then when that thing exploded, everything he said was word from word what he told. Yeah. And that's the thing. So there are people that may have all the story, some of the story, or a piece of the story. But you got to do your research, look into the story, and you'll be surprised what you'll find out. Because there's so much out there. Because we live in a time where people don't want to see it. Because as long as they got their Starbucks coffee, their cell phone, their whatever they're doing, they don't care. Right? That's where a lot of people are. So they don't care. I had people actually come in and tell me, of little weird groups doing little weird things with kids 20-something years ago.
That's crazy. Yeah.
They were telling me about it and how big the business was and all that stuff like that. And I found out about the director of the X-Men movies, Bryan Singer. I found out about him 20-something years ago. And I don't know if you guys know about him. Bryan Singer, he was going to Thailand to have sex with young boys. That's what he was doing.
I didn't know that. Oh, man.
Yeah, he's 20-something years ago. Bryan Singer's notoriously known for that. So you got him and you've got other people that are flying to Thailand. Thailand's a big place, that are flying to other countries and doing things like this and have been doing it for years. I mean, this goes back years and years and years. People are going on. If you ever heard of the guy Gary Glitter back in the 70s?
Never heard of him.
He made a lot of disco kind of glam rock music. He had all kinds of child crazy stuff going on for years. Yeah. It was never properly prosecuted for a lot of that stuff. They kind of touched on him as he got older a little bit, but not so much. Everybody was wondering what was going on with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was not even scratching the surface because, number one, they never proved Michael did it. These guys, you could prove, see, find. They're doing it every weekend. They're doing it every day. And they're not even looking at those guys. That's why I never believed Michael was what they said he was. Because the actual people that did stuff like that, you wouldn't even really know about it.
Yeah.
They had a much bigger business going on and what they were doing. They talk about Prince when he died, all the things he was doing to help out people, because he said, and quote, I could not be out in the front limelight. I had to hide myself to do good things for people because there was a bigger machine that was coming through trying to track what I was doing, trying to set me up. So I had to, play it really smart to do those things. And that's how a lot of people actually survive out in big businesses or entertainment or things of that are actually on the up, is like they have to do things in covert ways just to do the right thing.
But by doing those things, sometimes I guess that's how the other people get the dirt on them, like you said.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
You go the vice